Here we have verse 7 of the 21st chapter of the Gospel of John. We're in the midst of the drama that's unfolding when Jesus, as a unidentified stranger, is shown up on the shore. He calls out to the 7 disciples who've been fishing all night with nothing to show for their efforts, and asks them if they have anything, and of course their answer is in the negative, and Jesus gives them this rather striking command, which is reminiscent of the first time they encountered each other back there in Capernaum on the docks, and Jesus had given a similar command: cast the net on the other side of the boat. And of course, having done so, they have this tremendous catch of fish, and so it gives rise now to the unfolding story. So we have lege, he says. This is third person singular, present active indicative. Lego, I say. So he says, postpositive un, therefore, then ho mathetes, the disciple in the nominative. So the disciple says, the subject of the verb. And then adding a little bit of additional emphasis, we have ekenos, the demonstrative pronoun. It means that one. And it goes along with the following phrase here, that one, and then hon, relative pronoun in the accusative, rendered whom, and the object of that accusative is agapa, which is from agapao, I love. This is in the imperfect active indicative, third person singular. Who he was loving would be the way it literally would be rendered. Then Jesus is the subject of that verb in this dependent clause. So whom Jesus was loving, that one whom Jesus was loving. Of course, we wouldn't translate it quite that way, but it does give that idea of an ongoing kind of loving relationship that was persisting, and certainly is in the mind of John here, is who presumably the one about whom John is speaking. He's sort of oblique in references to himself, but it does seem pretty commonly taken to be the case that John is the one. So the disciple, that one whom Jesus loved, says, and then the indirect object to Petro, to Peter, in the dative, singular masculine of this proper name, identifying the speaker now, ho kurios, the Lord, estin, it is. Third person singular, present active indicative of eimi, I am. So it is the Lord, identifying him. Well, Simon hears this, Simon Petros, Simon Peter, un, postpositive, therefore, akousos, this is the masculine singular nominative of the aorist active participle, so having heard. The aorist participle refers to action preceding the time of the leading verb. So Simon Peter, having heard, from John of course, hoti, conjunction, ho kurios estin, identical to the phrase up here, that it is the Lord. Ton ependutane, this is an outer garment. It's the accusative of that. It means something you would wrap around yourself just to remain warm. And presumably Peter, having been fishing all night, had worked up a bit of a sweat. He'd taken it off in the heat of the labor he was doing. And then, having heard it was the Lord, diadzo santo. This is from diadzonumi, which means to gird oneself. It's based on a noun that means a belt. And so he belted or girded himself with this outer garment, ein, from eimi, I am, third person singular, imperfect active indicative, he was, gar, postpositive, gumnos, naked. Gumnos, the word for naked, is of course the word from which we get the word gymnasium, because way back in the ancient world, athletic competitions would take place in the nude there, and hence that word was used. Well, we're not to infer from this necessarily that Peter was in the nude, but he had taken off the outer garment, and the word was sometimes used more broadly to simply refer to that. That's more likely the sense of it. So he girded himself with this outer garment because he had taken it off. And then kai, the connective, ebalen, third person singular, aorist active indicative of balo, I cast, he cast, heoton, the reflexive pronoun himself, ace, with the accusative tain thalason, into the sea. Impulsive Peter, of course, hearing the identity of this one who has been identified to him by John, casts himself into the sea to swim probably the 100 yards or so that are separating the boat from the shore, to cast himself then at the feet of Jesus.